want you to understand that we're talking about a science that was developed 50 years ago and then squashed.
Yeah.
And it isn't available now. You have to live with the chemotherapy and with the radiation.
Yeah, the end result's what I'm talking about. Now, my brother's kept my mom all these years. Now they called him, they want him to come to the hospital and see if she's had any money. Her Medicare has run out, and he's going to have a lien on the house now.
You have a question, Kay, for
yeah, that's what I would like to ask them. Isn't there any private funds that anybody is setting up for them? I mean, setting up, isn't any private research centers, around the world? Hasn't anybody done anything, to help them?
Well, to help all of us.
Yeah,
All right. Steve?
At this particular time, no. We, up to this point, have made sure that we've collected all of the data, secured the microscope, have the different films, the frequencies, we have the daily work logs. And I think now really is the time when something can be done with proper funding. Up till this time and before having the actual microscope, which was a whole story in itself, how we even came upon this microscope.
Thank goodness you got
it. Really nothing could be done. So it's a matter, I think, now of people being aware of it, people making a decision that if we are truly going to make that all-out war on cancer that the then president proclaimed back in the 70s, and billions of dollars have been spent, then why can't money start being put into the effectiveness of frequencies in fighting diseases? Now, again, to answer your question, there has not been a lot of money spent here, but anybody who does research around the world will see that in Russia and in Germany and other countries, they are fighting these diseases with frequency, with magnetism and electricity.
And quite successfully.
Very successfully.
Well, that should be enough for the people to, ask what's going on.
It's different in the United States, honey, and the reason is money.
Yeah.
One thing I would suggest for you and all the listeners, I would suggest that the various charities that you give money to, that you might start asking them what research projects they have underway for the money that you have donated.
And we need to point out, too, Kay, that the World Research Foundation is not a medical research foundation. It is a repository of some of the most incredible levels of information and data, which is their function.
That would be interesting. Do you have tours or anything they can go out there and see the microscope?
The microscope is not on display. It is in a very secure place at this particular time. However,
you have to have a White House pass to get in.
Well, I guess you have the film, so that would show.
Yes.
Right.
We have the film, and we also have pictures, and we also have literature that's available for a person who's interested.
Yeah.
Okay, Kay?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good to have you aboard. And let's see, we have Jim on the line. Jim?
Hello, people.
Yeah.
Hello.
This is a really exciting show. I practice Buddhism, the effect of which can be understood from the point of view of physics, and I've been real interested in curing disease through physics for some 10 years. I've preached to several doctors in my city here, and I didn't get too much of anywhere, but I'm so happy that this kind of work has already been done. And I want to ask one, do you have plans or description of how to build these frequency generators, and how can we get in touch with your foundation? And I also think we should all write telegrams or send public opinion telegrams to the Surgeon General and the health, education, and welfare people.
There you go.
I'd like to see you get in touch with some people at the City of Hope in Los Angeles. And I'm a promotion person myself, and I believe I've known about this principle myself just through my own independent realization for some time, and I'm really behind you, and I hope this is really, really, really on the level, because I think that we should have some kind of revolution here and right away.
Well, to answer your question, if it was not on the level, then that would be discrediting people like Rosenau of the Mayo Clinic and Kendall of Northwestern and Milbank Johnson of the local establishment. And
what about plans to build the machines?
Well, there are definitely plans. Again, it's like anything else. You have to have the revenues to accurately conduct experimentation and tests. You want to have the best people possible who are doing it.
We the people have our hands on the purse strings of the country, and If I could have saved my good friend who was a retiree from the Federal Aviation Administration, I mean, he hired the Pasco operators and Reagan fired him. If I could have saved him as I watched him die of cancer, all I could do was chant, and I can't chant as heavy as a machine might be able to generate a sound wave and do the dirty work or the good work, you know?
Yeah, I think it would probably do a little bit more than chanting, but don't put the chanting down.
No, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. In any case, I really want to get behind you now. How can we get in touch?
I'll give you the address of the foundation.
Okay, I got a pen.
All right. The World Research Foundation, 15300 Ventura Boulevard, Suite 405, Sherman Oaks, California, 91403. And our phone number, area code 818-907-LIVE, L-I-V-E.
That's beautiful. I work about 20 blocks from you.
Well, we might also suggest to the listeners that there was an article describing the entire Rife microscope and the illumination, the chemical staining by light frequencies that appeared in the Smithsonian Institute and the Franklin Institute. We have a reprint of those particular articles as well as a foreword by Dr. Royal Lee, and the title of the article is What Has Become of the Rife Microscope?
I'll definitely give you a call, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right, there's our little song. Thank you for your interest, Jim, and your enthusiasm. Get out there and go to work for us, would you?
Yes, sir.
We're going to take a break for the news at 10 o'clock, find out what's going on the outside, but I think what's going on these next 2 hours will be quite fascinating, and you're invited to YouTube, and was the father of broadcasting and electronics as we know it in our industry. He developed a way to electronically kill those viruses. And then there was a way developed to kill the efforts of Dr. Rife so that something else could go on. And one of those things that went on was death from catastrophic diseases. It's an interesting story, and I hope you're enjoying it tonight. David, you're on.
Yes, Bill. Thank you for one of the most magnificent shows of all time on your wonderful program.
Thank you.
And my best regards to Steve and Laverne, whom I know. I'd like to ask Steve and Laverne if you could tell us a little bit more about the nature of that electromagnetic vibration that will destroy the virus. Is it in the visible light area? And does it have any effect on, or are there certain frequencies that would have an effect on normal, healthy tissue?
No, actually, the frequencies were not in the light area. The frequencies really were over a broad spectrum in regards to the various, not only the various diseases, but also the various states of the bacteria and viruses as they live through their normal life cycle. The interesting factor, I guess the best way of explaining it is if you think of the singer who sings and breaks a glass, she'll break just one type of glass, but not every single glass that exists. That's the one that resonates. So,
yeah, that's specific.
Right. So it absolutely was not harming the healthy tissue. Only, in fact, when they found the correct frequency, it really disintegrated the walls, basically the cell walls.
It's almost as if the cells were crystalline or of a crystal substance, whereas the regular healthy cells are not.
Yes, and is that an electromagnetic vibration? Do you have a magnetic field that is used, or can you tell us much about that frequency device?
Well, the original device, again, and this is what really the discussion is, you're talking the rudimentary beginnings of even frequency devices that were built. Now, the original one was not did not have a magnetic field set up, but that's not to say that something was not taking place at that particular time. The frequency device that they used was a gargantuan type device when you compare it today with the frequency devices that they make. But basically, it was used for one millisecond, and that 1 millisecond of exposure was enough to devitalize